In order to be in the top 10% of loan officers in America, you had to close 53 loans in 2025. I'm going to make a plan right now and show you how you can be able to do that in 2026. Let's jump into it. All right, what's going on? I'm Nick Carpenter from Legion of Loan Officers. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure if you haven't already, hit the bell, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can get notified when I drop new videos. What we're doing today is we're going to just old school whiteboard this plan here, and I'm going to show you how in 1 hour per month you can get into the top 10% of mortgage brokers and loan officers in America, okay? So in order to do that, you need to do 53 loans. Now, I'm going off the national average of 4 loans per referral partner. So that's going to mean that our goal here is to get 14 partners, okay? So we're going to make a plan right now on how we can get to 14 partners in 2026 sooner than later would be ideal, right? Now, in order to get 14 partners, I think you're going to have to meet one-on-one depending on your process. Okay, I'm going to break down how you can do this using classes as the backbone of this whole system. Okay, so when I say you can do this in 1 hour per month, it's because this is all based on you just teaching a 1 hour class per month. Okay, now in order to get to 14 partners, you're going to need to have about 30 one-on-ones. Okay, so how are we going to get to 30 one-on-ones with realtors? Of course, you could cold call them. You could do the old school bullshit that people do on Mondays and just waste your time, waste the realtor's time going after people we don't even know if we like or want to work with or are like respectable humans, okay? So what I think is better is let's just get people to come to a class, and the ones that you really like, we can go through this process, right? So in order for me, in what we do in the Legion, in order for us to get to 30 one-on-ones, we're going to need to get about 90 people to show up at class, okay? So let's just call that 90 attendees, okay? So we're going to need to get 90 attendees if we want to break down the way the numbers typically will break down, okay? Now, obviously, if you have 90 attendees, very possible that you could have more one-on-ones and only 30, okay? I'm suggesting that we only meet with the realtors that you actually like, all right? Now, here's a simple test to know if you like the realtor. If you were having a barbecue at your house, would you invite them over? And if the answer is no, like, why are you working with them, okay? It doesn't mean you have to love everybody that you work with, but if we're going to go out and pick and choose the realtors that we're going to work with, why not pick and choose ones that you actually like, maybe even love working with, right? The kind of realtors when they call you on the phone, you're like, hell yeah, so-and-so's calling me, versus, ah man, so-and-so's calling me, okay? So that's why if we're going to take 90 attendees, I'm saying about a third of them are going to be realtors that you would jive with pretty well. So that's who we're going to invite. So if we're going to get 90 attendees to your classes, that means that we're going to need to get about 180 RSVPs, okay? If we actually want to get 30, if we want to break these numbers down the way that we want them to. So 180 RSVPs, that probably sounds like a lot right now, okay? But if you just break it down over the course of, like, let's say 5 months, right? If we just did this over 5 months, that would mean that each class, we would need to get about, is that around like 30, 40? Somewhere between like 30 and 40. That's like 35-ish. That's like 35-ish people per month, okay? So that's how you can make this manageable, okay? Is you can just focus on getting that 35, right? Now, how are we going to get 35 people to RSVP to a class? Now, keep in mind here, we're trying to break this down into something that's manageable, right? Because if I was like, hey, go get 180 RSVPs in 1 month, there's no way you're going to do that. But if you're like, hey, if I might get 30 or 40 people to RSVP per month, that's doable. Okay, that's doable, right? If you need some ideas on how to actually get people to show up, I'm going to link the video here. That's how you can do this, right? So pretty simple here is, there you go. If you want to get in the top 10% of mortgage brokers in America, at least based on the 2025 numbers, that's 53 loans, okay? Now, if you figure that you're going to get about 4 loans per realtor, obviously if you get more, awesome. but the average is about 4. So that means that you're going to need 14 partners, okay? Now, I think in order to get 14 partners, you're going to need to have like 28, 30, 35 one-on-ones with realtors, okay? Now, obviously, I'm not going into all, like, what do you do on a one-on-one? You know, you got to have a really good one-on-one experience, right? It can't just be like a coffee meeting, and just because you met with them at a coffee shop, now all of a sudden they're going to get your business, you're going to get their business, because that's just not how it goes, okay? So if we're looking at this, because we average a 50% show rate at our classes. So if you market a good class, good topic, not at the end of the month, that kind of thing, you know, you're going to get about a 50% show rate because it's free, right? People pay, obviously, higher show rate. So 180 RSVPs, which sounds insane, but if we just break that down over the course of 5 or 6 months, right? So if you did that between now and June, like, think about how crazy your business might be, right? And all we got to do is get 35 or 40 people to say they're going to show up, okay? Because we're going to get a 50% show rate, right? So if we get 35 or 40 to say they're going to show up, we're going to get 15 or 20 to actually show up. And then that 15 or 20 is going to turn into, you know, 6, 8, whatever one-on-ones, depending on your process. And then I think about half of the people you meet with one-on-one will actually turn into partners, right? So if you get 14 new partners, that'll give you 53 loans. And look, I'm not even accounting for anything that you've already got going on, okay? This would be like if you're starting from scratch, right? So if you already did 30, 40 loans, whatever, last year, you're probably ahead of the game. So you may need less than this, right? Figure out what you would need based on what I'm sharing here, okay? I mean, you can kind of see how all the math works, right? It's 50% of the RSVPs are going to actually show up. That's the 90 attendees. And then from there, we're looking to convert about a third of the people that come to the classes into one-on-ones, and then about half of the one-on-ones into actual referral partners, right? Again, this is just one strategy. I just think it's a strategy that works really well. It's fun. It's predictable. I can break the math down right here and tell you what the numbers, how it's going to work. Anyways, if you need classes, if you need some classes to teach, that's what we have inside the Legion, right? I'm going to give you 6 classes that you can go teach for 2026. If you run out of those classes, you need more, come back. I'll give you 6 more classes. If you teach all those classes and you need more, come back. I'll give you 6 more classes. And then if you teach all those classes and you need more, come back. I'll give you 6 more classes, but that's it. That's all I got. I got 24 classes, okay? So that's what I've got going on. If you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. I love comments. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think was the most beneficial out of this video. And if you want to work together, check out legionofloanofficers.com. And yeah, hope you have a great one. Appreciate you for being here. I hope this was helpful. See ya.